Imagine needing something 5 years ago. You might have driven to a store, walked through the aisles, compared a few options, waited in line, and finally carried your purchase home. Today, you can lie in bed, type a few words into your phone, tap a button, and somehow the product is already on its way to your door. That sounds like a simple improvement in shopping, but it changed something much bigger. Amazon didn't just build an online store. It changed what millions of people expect shopping to feel like. And once customers became used to getting almost anything with a few clicks, traditional shopping suddenly started to feel slow.
But here's the strange part. Amazon didn't begin by selling everything. In fact, when the company launched in 1994, it was focused on something that might seem almost boring today: books. Jeff Bezos saw that the internet could offer something a physical bookstore simply couldn't: an almost unlimited selection without needing an enormous building filled with every title imaginable. A local bookstore could only keep so many books on its shelves. Amazon didn't have that same limitation. It could create a digital store where customers could search through thousands, then millions of titles from almost anywhere. The product was books, but the real innovation was choice. That idea became the foundation for something much bigger. Once Amazon had convinced people to trust the internet with their books, it started expanding. Electronics, clothing, home goods, toys, groceries, eventually, almost anything you could imagine. But selling more products wasn't the only reason Amazon became so powerful. The company was quietly solving one of the biggest problems in shopping: friction. Every extra step between wanting something and getting it creates a reason to change your mind. You have to find the store. You have to drive there. You have to search the shelves. You have to stand in line. Amazon looked at all those little inconveniences and started removing them one by one. Then came the moment that changed everything. Amazon introduced Prime. At first, the idea seemed almost too simple: pay a yearly membership and get faster shipping. But the real genius wasn't the shipping itself. It was what happened inside the customer's mind. Once people had already paid for Prime, ordering from Amazon felt easier than ordering somewhere else. The membership encouraged customers to come back again and again, and the more they used Amazon, the more convenient it became. Over time, Amazon wasn't just a place people visited when they needed something. It became the first place they thought of whenever they wanted to buy something. And that's when Amazon's biggest advantage started to appear. The company wasn't simply competing with Walmart, Target, or thousands of individual retailers. It was competing with the way people made decisions. If you wanted something, you didn't have to ask, "Where should I shop?" You could simply ask, "Is it on Amazon?" That tiny change in thinking was incredibly powerful. Because once a company becomes the default answer to a question, competitors don't just have to offer a better product. They have to convince customers to look somewhere else first. And for millions of people, that extra step is exactly what Amazon was designed to eliminate. But convenience alone couldn't build an empire this large. Amazon needed to make the experience feel almost effortless from beginning to end. So it kept improving the system around the purchase. Search became faster. Recommendations became smarter. Customer reviews helped people make decisions without talking to a salesperson. And millions of products could be compared from the same screen. Suddenly, shopping wasn't about walking through a store anymore. It was about scrolling. You could compare prices, read what strangers thought, look at photos from real customers, and make a decision in minutes. The store had effectively moved into your pocket. Then, Amazon discovered something even more powerful. It didn't need to own everything it sold. Through its marketplace, millions of independent sellers could list their products on Amazon and reach customers they might never have found on their own. For shoppers, this created an enormous selection. For Amazon, it created something even more valuable. The more sellers joined, the more products appeared. And the more products appeared, the more customers came to Amazon. More customers attracted more sellers, and more sellers created even more reasons for customers to stay. it became a cycle that kept feeding itself. But there's another reason Amazon became so difficult to compete with. It understood that customers don't really want to buy products. They want problems to disappear. If you're hungry, you don't want to search for groceries for an hour. If your phone charger breaks, you don't want to spend your afternoon driving from store to store. You want the problem solved. Amazon built its entire system around that feeling. Search for it, click it, forget about it. Then, sometimes before you've even had time to think about the purchase again, there's a package sitting at your door. And the company kept pushing that idea further. Warehouses became highly sophisticated. Delivery networks expanded. Algorithms predicted what people might want before they even searched for it. Amazon wasn't just waiting for customers to tell it what they needed. It was constantly studying shopping behavior to make the next purchase faster than the last one. The less time you spend thinking about the process, the easier it becomes to repeat it. And that repetition is where Amazon's real power comes from. Because eventually, something changes in your brain. You stop thinking of Amazon as a website and start thinking of it as infrastructure. It's simply there. Need batteries? Amazon. Need headphones? Amazon. Need a birthday gift tomorrow? Amazon. And once that mental shortcut becomes automatic, traditional retailers face a completely different kind of competition. They're no longer fighting for every single purchase from scratch. They're fighting against a habit that has been reinforced thousands of times. Amazon's biggest achievement wasn't convincing people to shop online. It was convincing them that shopping online should be this easy. But Amazon's story doesn't end with convenience. The company eventually realized that if it controlled more of the shopping experience, it could become even harder to replace. That's why Amazon expanded far beyond the website where it all began. It built massive fulfillment centers, invested heavily in logistics, created its own delivery network, and even developed technology to bring packages to customers faster. The goal was simple: control as much of the journey as possible, from the moment someone searches for a product to the moment that package arrives at their front door. And then there was one more advantage: data. Every search, every click, every purchase, every review, and sometimes even every abandoned shopping cart creates information. That information helps Amazon understand what people want, what they're willing to pay, and what they might buy next. The company doesn't need to guess what customers like in the same way a traditional store might. Its digital platform is constantly learning from millions of decisions happening every day. And the more people use the platform, the more information it collects, helping the experience become even more personalized. Of course, Amazon isn't without competition. Walmart has invested heavily in e-commerce. Target has built a powerful digital shopping experience. Thousands of specialized online stores compete for customers every day. And consumers are becoming more conscious of price, privacy, delivery fees, and the impact of online shopping. Amazon still has to fight for loyalty. But the company has one enormous advantage. It has already become part of the routine for millions of people. That's why Amazon's biggest achievement isn't the number of products it sells or the number of packages it delivers. It's the change it created in our expectations. Before Amazon, waiting several days for something to arrive was normal. Today, waiting can feel frustrating. Before Amazon, comparing dozens of products meant visiting multiple stores. Today, we expect the information to appear on one screen. Before Amazon, shopping was something you had to make time for. Now, it can happen in the middle of a conversation, during a lunch break, or from your bed at midnight. And that's the real reason Amazon took over shopping. It didn't simply build the world's biggest online store. It changed the definition of convenience. It removed friction, created habits, connected millions of sellers with millions of buyers, and made the entire process feel almost invisible. The most powerful businesses don't always force people to change their behavior. Sometimes they make the new behavior so easy that people never want to go back. So the next time you open Amazon to buy something you could probably find somewhere else, remember what you're really buying. It's not just the product inside the box. You're buying time. You're buying convenience. You're buying certainty. And perhaps most importantly, you're buying the feeling that the entire world of shopping is sitting right there in your pocket. If you enjoyed this documentary, subscribe to Finance with Zaid I. Every week, we uncover the hidden strategies behind the world's biggest brands, one business secret at a time.